Hey y'all, it is Moonlight Cowboy, and I'm coming to you with an update on some merging, a new trick that I found, a couple of new little things, and then also a camp build that I did real quick. It took me about 2 hours, maybe a little less. So thank you for tuning in and watching today. So first up, we have the merging update. So I'm thinking there was an issue with the server where I was at because it was not letting me merge. I don't know what was going on, but for some reason now today I am able to do a regular merge, and this is, without any additional things. Now, special shout out to Matt at 4242. He had told me that he was also having issues, but he got a mannequin to work. He had also powered his up. So if you're having issues, just do that, and it seems to be working just fine. Sorry for any confusion there. But anyway, so I wanted to show you a little something here. In case you don't like to do, say, the rug merge or the mat merge to get the symptomatic down, here's another quicker way to actually get that to work for you. When we're merging down, like, say, the symptomatic, right, it's kind of a pain. And I thought about this as like a workaround initially, and I was going to put it in the last video. I was like, maybe not. It was getting a little long. So this is one that I thought would be really cool because, with using the mat, it takes a while to like merge it down into a rug or whatever. When instead what you could do is you could just kind of use a foundation, and the foundation merging, as you see, I just grab it from there. Most of you probably know how to do that by now, but this is a quick, easy option if you want to still use the symptomatic to get underground instead of stairs. And then you just kind of, as long as you don't move forward when you get out, you usually land on that like little rest on the edge there, the little round part. And then from here, it's pretty easy. Like, you don't need to keep it that way. You can just add a symptomatic from there onto, like, say, a foundation underground, right? So as we see here, I'm just going to go ahead and slap that there. And then it might take a little finagling to get it to, like, place correctly above ground, where you want just the top to stick out. See, it kind of doesn't want to. But, like, I was able to play with it, really, and see I was able to get it there. And then now, instead of having some kind of weird stair situation, not only do I have a symptomatic that I can go to underground for those who like to use that method, but because it's on a foundation, I have a nice little landing spot there. So this, again, I did this in pretty much no time at all. Pretty easy. You can do that with other things too, not just the symptomatic. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a catwalk substitution that I found. I'm sure I'm not the first one to figure this out, but I want to share it with you anyway. I did figure this one out on my own, no problem, because I was just kind of playing with the build. You can just add a wall, or I'm sorry, a upper floor, like a half floor, and then the walls will snap to it. So you can go either way with it. You can take it out a little bit. This doesn't do very well for, like, if you need a quarter length catwalk. That's the only downside to this. But you can still do a lot of other things with this trick, right? So a lot of the same things you would do with, with catwalks, you can do with this as well. Again, without the quarter length, just half length or full length. But look, I can do a foundation merge, and that's right on the money. I mean, you do get the flickering there, but you can do foundation merges using this trick. Or you can also use this to kind of space out your foundations as well. Just by going a little bit further out and then just stretching that out there, and then we're good to go there, right? So pretty easy stuff. And then another thing we can do too is if we want to merge a full wall into the ground for whatever reason, maybe you just want that style of like the texture on that wall and you like the full wall version, you can just go ahead and add a half wall, then the upper floor, and then kind of remove that foundation to get that in there, right? So, and then once you snap that foundation in around that full wall, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. One more thing that you can do, obviously you can't use these small ones, but instead of having the 90-degree, you can just run your upper wall across like that to get the same effect of having the 90-degree version of the catwalk, and that helps a lot too. So this is just super duper easy. I was playing with this, and I know this has been a gripe for a lot of people. I've gotten this as a request before the word of this update. An easy way to use floors, but also with your stairs. Just place your stairs like you see there, and then once you do that, you can turn it off snapping and just free place them and just move them over. Like, it's literally going to be that easy. These are the reasons I'm super excited for this. So I wanted to do a quick custom camp. The reason being is, you don't really learn just by sitting there playing with things. Sometimes when you're in the building of things, you get more perspective, right? So I did this camp in about 2 hours. Now, this little round thing, if you didn't see my last video on relax building, I made this, and I made that disc in, like, I don't know, we said like 7-8 minutes. So it was pretty easy to do. Even though it turned red, as long as it was visible, I was still able to snap it through. So as you can see, it still stays red, but as long as the disc is visible, see, it kind of flashes when it's not visible, at least wherever the key point to this is, which is probably the middle piece. And then I'm able to get that into the tree, no problem. Now, for those of you that have built at this waterfall, you know that tree is absolutely, like, horrendous to work with. So I want to have this build to have like a little bit of like a railing or like a porch area on the side. Apologies ahead of time. I don't actually decorate this one. I just kind of slapped it together because I wanted to see how far I could take it in a short amount of time. So anyways, all we really have to do to give it that, first, I would just go here and add my walls all the way around. Now, I know I just said that I want to have a little ledge, and I'm going to. But you'll see how I do that here momentarily. But we're just going to go around and add our first layer of walls. When you see how easy this is to do, you're going to be like, oh man, why didn't they do this sooner? But again, hindsight's 2020, and they're probably trying to keep up with competition of other building games coming out. Now, I do use catwalks for this. And you'll see the aha moment here coming up when I do it with the floors, and I'm like, oh wow, you know what? I bet we could just do that instead of using catwalks. But what I'm basically doing is I'm moving these walls inside by about a half length. Again, this would be a perfect scenario for you if you had the upper floors, because it would work just fine for that. And so I move all the way around by scooting those in. And if you notice, there's a little bit of overlap in the wall, and I kind of like that, where they overlap a little bit. It adds a little bit more character to the outside. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. And yeah, so now I have my inner circle, and I'm just going to go ahead and wall that part in too. No need to destroy things, no need for the wrecking ball perk or flamethrowers or anything like that. The only pain is this, and I don't know why this started happening, this not visible thing where you can't build without being in line of sight of the item. I don't know why that happened, but it is a pain in the neck, because I have to kind of move my character around like you see there to get things into place, right? So this is about the part where I realized about using a floor instead of a catwalk. As you see, I decide, oh, you know what? Oh, it snaps, right? And then it was like, aha. And then, because then if I had to put a catwalk up there and remove the wall, then it would have removed the catwalk as well as the wall, right? So instead, now I could just use the floor. I knew the floor would stay there. I'm like, wow, this is even easier in some practice, right? So that's how I figured that part out. I've never built in custom before today, other than filming occasionally. This is the first time I've built in this, knowing that the relaxed building rules are coming here in the next couple of months. So essentially, because the walls are reversed, I do have to put a ring of roofs on the outside. It can be a little tricky. Destroying the roofs does help with this process, and sometimes the environment will get in the way, but you can snap through it. It just takes some patience. Sometimes it helps if you go into first-person perspective, right? So like right here, as you see, I'm like working to get it there, because obviously in third person, see, and sometimes just rotating it will get it into place. So be patient. Like right here specifically, that one where the tree trunk is going over was a little bit of a pain to do. But again, I was able to get it, after like jumping around a little bit and stuff. Not end of the world. I just placed it there and then I tried to get it that way. And you'll see like some of this, especially when you're dealing with the environment, just because you can clip through it doesn't mean that it's not a pain. The reason being is, yes, you can free place items through, but snapping things through, it still has that collision. So you're battling a little bit with that collision. And in this case, I just switched the roof type because the other roof had that like feature that it extended it up a little bit, so then it removed that from being an issue. And then from there, all I'm doing is I'm snapping those roofs through the tree now on the other side, basically going inward, because I don't need them to go out. That was just kind of as a placeholder. And again, it did about the same type of issue. It took a little bit of play to get it to work, but I was able to get them all in. And this is what you're going to probably need to do as well as you're building. Sometimes it's just going into a different perspective. See, I was able to get that in no problem, right? So just by switching over my viewpoint. Now, for this was a little bit of a pain because I wanted to make sure they all were going the right direction, because I end up angling these up for that feature. But otherwise, like you can see it, like they just want to go in. It's natural. It's super easy. No more, again, breaking all of the things in order to make this work. I'm a really big fan of the, I'm a big roof guy when it comes to, builds. I've built with roofs for many of my camps. So this makes things a lot easier. And then I just go underneath, make sure everything's going the right direction, which again takes a little bit of struggle bussing my way through, but once I find that sweet spot, I can angle, of course, right? Only because I'm making a video on it. Oh, there we go. And now I can angle that up, and then I had one more roof that was kind of an extra there. And then it's really just about going around, at least for the exterior side, and picking your wall type, which, I do. I want things to look a little rustic inside. And then I can do like a wall treatment on the outside, some kind of wallpaper, or I could have left it like that, you know what I mean? From here, now, like I mentioned in the other video, it's good to have a good round blueprint to make this blueprint off of. But you notice there's no flickering there, and I think that looks pretty good. I end up going with a different floor than that, but for starters, I just wanted to see what that looked like. Then I'm just slapping these railings up here because now we can use these things any way we want. But also because, it has that weathered wood look, even though it's kind of a basic camp item. I think it fit the bill here for this treehouse. And again, I'm just kind of slapping this thing together, with a little bit more care. You could have something really cool here. And I did this whole thing in, I think it was either just about or just under 2 hours. I looked at the clock; it was like 9:05 when I started, and then it was like 11 when I ended. And I got all of this done, including the little bit of accent lighting and the interior. I did because I like to have restroom and a bedroom space, and this build is big enough I could do that. I went ahead and added that as well, but for now, like you see, I'm just adding some wood features on the outside, getting rid of that other wallpaper. I think it's good in like as a feature wall, but for a whole build, I think for me it's a little gaudy for the palette wood at least. So I wanted something a little bit more plain. I found out that my blueprint actually had an extra floor in it, so I went ahead and removed that. And yeah, now I'm going to keep that part as the greenery inside. Now, as far as hiding the generator, look how easy this is, right? I'm literally going inside the tree. I don't want to push it too far because then it goes where it's not visible to me, but I could see a tiny little corner of it. So now I have power in there. And now I'm going to change up my roofs to be grass. Again, fitting that theme here, kind of like an ecotourism, treehouse kind of spot, right? This is all really easy stuff. Like, I really feel like just about anybody could do that. I used the catwalk trick that I did for the outside to add those walls to the inside. I skipped through it because I figured you guys already would have figured that part out. But it was really easy to get those walls in. The only wall that I ended up having difficulty with was like a partition wall. So I end up going in and then just free placing that guy right here, because it's really just a partition between the rooms, so it wasn't like it had to be like exact. It could just be however I damn well please, I reckon. So I just, as long as it's not sticking out on either side, which is why I come out here and check that. And then I just put another wall up on, like another angled wall up at the top to kind of, to make sure that that's split up. And that's the nice thing about those grass roofs too, because it's a little forgiving and it hides, like if you had like a little tiny bit of poking out, it would fix that. So now I'm just going to get that last wall in. There we go. I was about to shoot up at the roofs because of like just how I'm used to doing it, it's force of habit. And now I've literally got like a room on both sides. One could be a bedroom, one could be a bathroom. I'm just, changing up my wallpaper. I mean, this is all stuff that you guys could do very, very easy. There's nothing in here that requires any like super sweat equity or a lot of training or acumen for building. It's literally just, knowing a few little techniques here and there versus before a build like this would have been, super duper tricky. Lighting, now you see I can literally just place the lighting through the tree. Can you imagine like trying to do this before in regular adventure mode, without the relaxed building feature? It would have been such a pain. Like, it's still a little bit of a pain, but you would have never gotten the lighting to go through that tree. Not a chance. You would have had to work around the tree and space out the lighting differently so you got the coverage you needed. It wouldn't have been perfect like it can be with this. Of course, it doesn't mean it's not, you don't have your struggles, right? Just like anything else. Lighting is huge for me, so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get this, at least a little bit of the lighting done. And I do the underneath as well. It creates a really cool halo effect underneath this thing. And again, there's no big secrets here. There's not like well, if you don't know how to do this one thing, or you don't have this one thing, you could literally do this entire camp right here without having any additional Atom Shop items other than like the style, right? Like, yeah, you wouldn't have the glass walls, but you could have walls. You might not have the nicer floors, but you have floors. You could do this entire build right here with just regular in-game items, which is one of the other things I really like. And then, of course, because of that not visible thing, I had to move my character over to get the last two lights in. Shazam. It was literally that easy. That is the camp. I think that, considering I only, there was only about a 2-hour investment in here just to figure out, like, hey, is there anything I'm missing with, some of these easier, quick wins as far as, camp building techniques and stuff. I thought that this came out really cool. If this were an adventure mode camp right now, I would probably decorate this up and probably post it on my channel. But I did just want to throw this together for you so that we had an idea of what a build like this could look like. I hope that these tricks are helpful for you as you are starting to think about what a world looks like without the need for all those additional blueprints, or you're trying to think of ideas. I know that there are those in the community that are a little bummed, right? I'm one of those people, and I'll be transparent about it. I have a lot of camps right now that, like, it took some masterful work to get done, and I'm not just like fluffing myself up with that. It's like a lot of sweat equity, a lot of time invested, a lot of frustration for this to happen, and I know that those camps are going to be antiquated. But then the way that I also look at it too is, like, I could have never built this camp that you're looking at right here. I could have never built that before. It just wouldn't have been possible. So I've taken enough of your time today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're finding this stuff helpful as I'm pushing it out. I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch it. Y'all stay blessed, stay safe, and have an amazing day. Thank you.